You
Not
get it.
you too,
You get it,
Tom.
Tom.
Tom, welcome
Me too.
aboard, buddy.
One of us.
One of us.
What is everyone? Everyone. Huh?
Oh,
Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast You Didn't Need But You Deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome.
You are.
Whether or not you're a witch or a wizard or perhaps a muggle.
Or you're a witch that never went to Hogwarts.
Today, we escape our shackles of Azkaban and return to the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Today, we are joined by one of our Harry Potter experts, Mikey now.
hello.
What's your title?
My title?
Yeah, what do you want your
Stooge.
title to be?
Oh, the artist formerly known as the
the-
Half-Blood Prince.
Perfect.
Can we?
But before we dive too far into today's episode, let's introduce the host. I'm Corey.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Tom.
And I'm Ollie, and today's episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation, which is powered by a Patreon.
Oh.
It is a membership service where you can join to support your fellow creators, or any creators.
Creators.
Such as ourselves.
Such as ourselves. And you can choose the tier and the price that fits your lifestyle and what you want to get out of the Nerd On Nation.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more about some of these cool features like the Discord server, like the
Discounts.
early access to merch and discounts to merch. You can find out more at nerdon.io/Patreon.
That's correct. Well done.
But that's not the only caped crusaders those help us out. Some people like to read certain things digitally because they don't have a comic book store near them. So what can we do, y'all? We can suggest them to help out by supporting us by using nerdon.io/comicsology, powered by Comicsology,
Amazon.
powered by Amazon, powered by
The
you.
number one.
Some would say it's the number one source for comic books on the internet.
But
Ding.
you're watching Disney Channel.
You can tell them we sent you
Sorry.
by visiting the special URL.
Yes. Our old promo code is no longer in use until further notice, and we might get some more. But
We'll
yes,
see. We'll see.
If you want to be able to read comic books through digitally and have a great UI interface to kind of just swipe around between different panels, I think it's quite wonderful, and it always helps us out, makes us the best podcast we can be, and also informs some things that you guys might like that we can cover in more comic books later on.
Yes.
Such as
Wow.
House and Dawn of X, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But without further ado, let's talk about the marquee topic.
Yes.
So Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes.
What? No. Azkaban.
Azkaban.
The film, not the book. So yeah, this is interesting because it's been. I feel like it's always been a while,
Mhm.
but it's
It
been a
has.
while since we've actually had to talk about something that's completed.
Yes.
And
It
so
has
at the
been.
end of the episode, we're going to rate it. So
Yes.
that means right now we're going to
Guess that grump.
Dun,
Harry
dun,
Potter,
dun, dun,
Prisoner of
dun,
Azkaban.
dun,
It's a movie we covered
Dun,
Is he a
dun,
wolf
dun,
or
dun.
is he a man? He's definitely a man wolf.
So
Some say.
everyone at home, if you're not familiar with Guess That Grump or the Nerd On Podcast, welcome. The Guess That Grump
Sorry
is a
about that,
segment,
first of all. And welcome.
is a segment of
Hi
our
there.
show where we like to guess who is going to have the lowest rating, 1 out of 5. No matter how high it is, you are the grump for the week. Since this is completed, we will rate it that way. And since I always go first, I never remix it the way I want to talk about it. I will guess that the person who will rate it the lowest will be Ollie.
Oh,
I always guess you. It doesn't matter.
that's cool. Whatever.
Who's going next?
Ollie.
I am going to select Kaylin.
Ooh.
Well, interesting choice.
Mikey, who do you guess? And for those of you listening at home, if you were missing a familiar voice, Josh is not with us today.
He's dealing with
He's
family.
with
He's dealing with family shit. We wish him a speedy recovery. He fell ill.
He went to Azkaban.
Yeah, he went to
Yeah.
Azkaban.
Yep.
He got the Dementor's kiss.
Too
on
much
his butt.
apologies.
Don't joke about that,
Yeah.
Tom. That's serious.
On his
That's
butt.
very serious.
On his
Oh,
butt.
Mikey,
You don't
who's
recover
the
from
grunt?
it.
Who do you think is going to be the lowest rating of this episode?
Caitlin.
Wow.
Gotta keep it consistent.
I like how you had the little southern twang. Caitlin.
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 Hey, Caitlin. Who do you think is going to be the grump?
The grunt.
I think it's going to be you, Corey.
Mhm.
I know I'm wrong, but I chose it anyway.
I am often wrong.
How do you guess something but know that it's a wrong guess?
You know.
Huh.
retroactively.
I would be an idiot to choose Mikey. So therefore, I will choose. This is tough.
He might hate this one.
Is this a trick set up because he knows that I've changed my name
Yeah,
legally?
to the
Half
formerly
Blood
known as the
Prince.
Half Blood Prince.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
The half fudge prince.
I'll say Ali just to mix it up a bit.
Let's do it.
chocolate
Watch it be
fudge
Tom.
prince.
Watch
And
it be Tom.
now we get our votes from the Nerd On Nation. If you become another part of the Nerd On Nation, you get to vote on who you think the Grump will be. Get some shout outs at the end. So let's see what we have.
And you're watching Disney Channel. Oh, everyone listening, I'm just playing with my wand. And then I'm using my Harry Potter wand.
The
Put it
Nerd On
away.
Nation believes that Tom
Oh,
will be
I love our
Grump
nation, but
of
god
this
damn, they're wrong sometimes, baby.
week, followed
All
closely
right.
by Ali.
Okay.
But it is a landslide vote for Tom. So-
Goodness.
Yeah.
Tom,
Well,
I'm so
because they know
sorry.
I don't like kids. I like punching them.
yeah.
And that
They're getting older and
that's
older.
a thing
Yeah.
in this movie is punching kids.
So that means you and I will give our rating, or actually Mike will give his rating first at the end of the episode, followed by me and Tom, and then Caitlin and Ali, you can duke it out to see who is last.
Cool.
High five.
And now, the complete spoiler of that, we're going to do our initial reactions and first impressions, if you're across the pond.
Yeah, Mikey, why don't you start us off with your first impressions of this movie, the first time you saw it,
The first
or
time I
read
saw
it, whatever one.
The first time I saw it. So change of director, and I'd gotten this like magazine at Kroger when I was working there when I was 14 or 15.
Shout
So,
out to
like,
Kroger,
Was
shout
that
out to Kroger.
Was it like
It's-
40 years ago?
Yeah. 35.
Close. Yeah. Crap. So I still have all like the pages I tore out. They're still on my dresser.
Aw.
Don't awe at me.
It's cute.
It's what a.
He's so old.
I know.
Whatever, it's cute.
It had such a different look that I was like excited, but like I didn't like it as much as the first two initially, but it grew on me. And then watching it with Tom, he pointed out a lot of things that made me change my mind. But it wasn't my favorite movie of the saga until like probably right now. I watched it
Wow.
twice yesterday and I loved it. Like
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the things I didn't notice because I pay attention to the story because I just want it to be close to the book. But my initial reaction was like, I'm gonna go back and watch the first two again, and I liked it. I really liked it. I'm being negative. I really liked it. I give it a 6.
No, you don't,
Oh,
You don't
that's
rate
a
it
go.
yet.
He
Oh.
knows.
Out of what?
Out of 1,000. So I'll go next.
Yeah,
I am one of those kids who would go to like the midnight viewings
Hell
of
yeah.
these movies.
Mhm.
And I was fucking blown away when I first saw this movie. So this happens to also be my favorite book in the series. So I did go in very like, oh, it's better fucking get my characters right, and it did. Like I was very pleased with the aesthetic of it, and it's kind of that. The thing I like about the Harry Potter movies and the books is that they grow with the audience.
And it's supposed to be like that.
And it's supposed to be like that. And this is the first turn into the okay, we're getting older now. It's not quite as bright and magical and like,
getting
oh, what is all this
older.
shit?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
stuff's established, and now we're gonna like I always say this a lot, but it's kind of like an Empire Strikes Back kind of situation where we're like, okay, we had the fun.
Yeah.
Now let's dig our nails in a little bit and explore what the dangers of this world can be.
Now, can these kids actually act?
And I remember being off put, and Mikey, we talked about this when we watched it together. I remember when I was younger being off put by it changing the layout of the castle, but not in a negative way. I was just kind of like, oh, I thought I knew where everything was and what it looked like, and it's
Little
different.
retcon.
But it's a better different.
Mhm.
Like it looks a little more lived in and less set piecey, which
Right.
I really dig.
It felt
Um,
more like a castle and not a school.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I still stick to that. This is probably my favorite in the series to this day. To this day, still.
Yeah.
So who
and,
voted for Corey?
and watching it again just solidified that fact, especially because I haven't watched it in probably 4 or 5 years. And since then, starting the podcast and, pushing myself to study film language, it's held up against all of that. So.
Yeah. Well, I think the first two, it's interesting that you say that. I think the first two, they were trying to establish Hogwarts as like this magical place.
Yeah.
And I think that's why maybe it looked a little bit more pristine and kind of fantastical. But now it's like maybe just Curion's
You're
like,
aware.
like his
of
style,
everything.
but like you're,
But it's also the book. The book
it's a
gets
bit
dark.
more realistic
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So
How
yeah.
about you, Ollie? What's your impressions then?
For me, I actually really enjoyed the third movie a lot. I'm a big fan of Alfonso Curon's.
Quran.
Curon, am I saying that wrong?
There's no I. but-
Curon. I really like his
Ron
visual
Weasley.
style, and like I was really like I didn't appreciate this when I first saw it, but especially like during the viewing to catch myself up for this episode, I noticed that I really liked the way he brought his own like film style to this, and like somehow made it work really well with it. And instead of it, like you definitely get the dark grittiness, like Children of Men kind of feel, but like because you could see him wanting to do some of those.
Tom.
He does a couple of those camera moves, and they're not as like elaborate as that movie. But
He was
you could
actually told by
definitely-
his friends to do the film, but to tone back his style
Tone
a
back
little
his
bit
style.
and try to shoehorn it in between
the transitions where
his
like,
own style and the first two films. So he kind of had to.
Hmm.
He did a happy medium of like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put my shit in there, but I'm still gonna have a lot of the aesthetic from the first.
and it
two.
just works in a weird, like, cool way. Like,
what were you saying
as
about the
they're-
transitions?
well, he kind of uses them for like transitions in a way. Like you see, like they had a scene outside Hermione and Harry, and then like they run inside, but then like that's his time to shine. That's his time to do his thing. So he instead of following them through, he just kind of goes up on the castle, up to the bell, and like through the
glass.
bell, and then
Mhm.
and then they come back into scene. Like he does that a couple times in the movie, and I really like it because like you get this like atmospheric kind of time to spend with the castle, and almost kind of not quite became its own character like it does in like other
think-
movies,
I
but like
think
it
that's
starts it's starting to become more of its own character.
and it gives you that kind of whimsical feel of like,
Yeah.
oh, we're floating and flying through glass, and
Yeah, it kind of had a like maybe it was just kind of some of the winter setting in some of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And gave a little Burton-esque. I almost wanted to hear like Elfman come, like
la
like-
la la la
yeah.
la, bum, bum,
kind of like
bum,
that
bum,
darker
bum,
winter kind of vibe. And I just loved the way it looked, and everything was kind of like I thought it was funny. Hermione always had like a dirty hoodie on.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just like the
Maybe
style.
she
of-
was poor.
How dare you? Her parents were orthodontists. They could afford better clothes for
That's
her.
true.
for sure.
for sure.
She was just really busy that year.
Or
Meta.
she was wearing Ron's.
Ron doesn't
No.
wear a pink hoodie because his
Mhm.
mom makes him sweaters with his names on.
Maybe she was trying to
Or
do
you got-
laundry that day, but it was busy and it just didn't pan out.
Oh. Well, she's got that little that little plot turner. I mean, a time turner.
Yeah, she could have waited.
She could have
Yeah.
gone
So
back
I guess
into
she's a
some-
prisoner plot.
Yeah.
You don't think she would have used her time turner to go back in time and do her laundry?
You
That's-
don't
that's
think
what I
this
was
time
getting
turner
at.
would have been
You're
used in
getting
every other fucking movie after this? Anyways, but
Hey, quick question, Caitlin, what was your first reactions?
When I first saw it, the tonal shift was a lot for me. I was not as fond of it being the more grown up, darker, grittier. It has a lot.
Can I
what-
agree with you? I think that was what
Yeah.
it was for me.
Yeah, and like there was a lot of horror aspects
Yeah.
of this.
It was terrifying.
like
Horror.
things were whatever.
Horror.
Horror.
Horror's for
All
the-
the horror.
for the East
Horror.
Coast. The East Coast.
Kids. So a lot of horror aspects were in this, and I didn't like that because I was very not into anything scary at all. So I was like,
I mean,
oh no,
you weren't.
still
Yeah.
not,
You still not.
still not. But
aren't.
extra super not
Into
before. So this was just, it didn't sit quite as right, but it still had a lot of that magic in it.
lot
And
of
then
I feel like you needed it though for a little bit for the subject matter.
yes.
yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
More
definitely
so than the other two.
it was like a
Did you read the
necessary
books?
next step.
Or were you just a movie kid?
Yeah, because I
No,
hadn't read the
both.
books up
Both.
to
It was
this.
both.
So it was both for you. So there's movies first for this one for me. For
Then
you
the
was
book?
books first. For everybody
It
else, I
was
assume.
yeah,
first.
books and then movies, and then
Mhm.
we did like the midnights of
Yes,
everything that we could.
we always did.
Um,
Love that.
But watching it now is a totally different experience. Like I feel like I have two initial reactions.
Yeah,
From
Yeah.
the
that's
one
why we
from
do
childhood
the
and then
original.
Same.
yeah.
And now
the-
we're adults.
And now
And
we're
that's what the
adults.
and
episode
we'll do
is about
that
our new reaction.
later. Myself,
Do it, Tom.
just like everyone else, I fucking hated this movie when I was a kid because I was like,
Everyone
fuck-
else except me. I'm the only one so
I didn't
far.
hate it. No,
yeah,
I
it was
okay.
like,
so
it
there
was
we
like
go.
no, not hated, but it was like it's dark. I don't like it.
Yeah.
The tone, blah
scary.
blah.
That's
I
what
want
I liked about it.
on
like
Chris-
right up front.
I want Chris Columbus to like still do his style and murder people by kids, because that's Home Alone.
Yeah, there's a lot of deaths in
yeah.
Home Alone.
So, and then that's how it is. But this one, I was just like, to me, this was like the one I felt like I wanted to skip every time. And I remember reading the book, and I was just like, this also sucks. And then like watching the movie, I was just like, God, this is just so dark and grim and blah blah blah. And who gives a crap? And they moved all the things around. And then as an adult, I was like, oh, I was stupid then. That's cool. and then
Wow.
and then I was like,
Bold
oh,
statement.
Yeah.
yeah.
Then
Yeah.
You had a different view on life. How about that one?
No, I was stupid then. Everyone's young and dumb at one point, and then they realize their life is ending, and they're like,
Young,
oh,
dumb, and full of fun.
they're like, oh, I should be smart now, and it's like,
Oh my God.
so
Am
yeah.
I wrong?
No.
Now
Never
I'm just
are.
old and full of fun,
Yeah.
and I just trap people in my basement. Anyway, so
Brief synap.
I like it. Yeah.
Good
So
job.
brief synopsis and production.
Production. So, Mikey, take us away on the brief synap.
All right, try to do this in like 15 sentences.
Fade in.
We'll help you in.
okay.
So it starts.
In a world. So we open up. Harry's trying to do his homework. I'm going to do this like shot by shot, aren't I?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
you are.
Yeah.
Do
so
it.
he's trying to get his homework done. Under his bed sheet
Because you're not allowed to do magic
he's not
outside
allowed
of
to do
school.
magic. It's really kind of a cool intro,
Yeah.
but goes in through the window. His Aunt Marge and cousin Ripper, the dog, come and just wreck the rest of his summer while he's trying to get like a permission slip signed to go to Hogsmeade. Doesn't get it done. He's a little frustrated. Marge accuses his parents of being deadbeats, and he
What does he
blows her
say?
up.
He says a lazy piece of shit and a drunk.
Essentially, a lazy piece of shit and a fucking drunk.
After
Yeah.
commotion, he leaves.
Yeah, so she blows up, flows away. Dudley finally sees it after
Yeah.
a thing pops in his face. So she floats away. He's on the run. Night Bus comes and saves him after he sees the Grim. And so Stan Shunpike, the coolest guy in the whole school,
Yep.
saves him and then takes him to Nocturne Alley.
The
Yes.
Night
No,
Bus.
Leaky Cauldron.
Leaky-
Sorry.
Leaky
Leaky
Cauldron.
Who's like-
Yeah.
Leaky Cauldron.
Doesn't go
in
there.
Nocturne
London.
Alley.
He's in London. So he takes it away, and then they go to
Fudge.
Leaky Cauldron to meet Fudge, where Fudge is like super relieved that he's still alive, because there's a killer on the loose,
We
and
find out
unbeknownst
that-
to
Sirius Black.
Sirius Black is
on the loose.
and he wants to kill Harry. You find
It's serious.
out it's very very serious.
Serious matters.
So it's just black matter. That doesn't make sense.
It's okay.
Anyway, so everybody's relieved that Harry's still alive. That Sirius didn't kill him. They go to Hogwarts and.
Well,
On the way.
Ron's dad's like, hey man, you can't be,
So, yeah.
out here. He's like, can't go looking for him no matter what. And he's
Right.
like, why would I look
Why
for
would I
someone,
look for somebody who wants to kill me?
And then the whole movie, he's looking for the guy who's trying to kill him.
Yeah, kind of weird how
Yeah.
that happens. So,
He's so
you-
good at listening.
You're introduced to Professor Trelawney, who is my favorite character in the movie. One of them.
But on the way to school, they're on a train, and then
Oh,
things-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As Death
Yeah.
Eaters
Yeah.
come and we
See-
meet.
not Death Eaters, Dementors.
So we meet Professor Lupin, who
Oh,
is
yeah, Dementors.
our favorite character.
Yes.
You get a taste of who the Dementors are and how
to stop them.
sensitive Harry is to
Oh.
them, and
And how much they target Harry.
they target Harry. And then Malfoy makes fun of him for fainting because he's a dick.
Yeah.
Goodness. Okay.
we
so
meet Lupin, who
you meet Lupin on the
who
train.
uses a
Here, eat
Patronus.
this. You'll
uses
feel
a Patron.
better.
Eat this, you'll feel better. Gives him the
He's
chocolate.
a Patronus, not Patron. Patron's a drink.
I would fake
He was
pass
probably
out.
drinking Patron.
Probably hammered
Like he
drunk.
seems drunk.
I'm
I-
not homeless anymore.
We
I
get,
would 100% fake pass out all the time if people were just going to give me chocolate when
Yeah,
I
we
wake
get,
up.
we get Michael Gambon
We get new
Dumbledore, who says,
Dumbledore.
hey, don't give the Dementors a reason to come after you. We go to Defense of Dark Arts, Lupin. He says, hey, here's a
We
Boggart.
do the Boggarts
And then-
montage.
And then all of a sudden he's
Boggarts
missing
are
one
so
day.
good.
And then Snape says, go to page 394. Let's look up werewolves.
Werewolves.
McLean.
And then
So then
Harry's sad because he
they
can't
do
go to
they do the
Hogsmeade.
Buckbeak. They do the Buckbeak
they do the
thing, and
Buckbeak.
Buckbeak attacks
Yep, yep.
Draco because Draco's
'Cause
not
he's a
paying
dick.
attention to Hagrid.
Mhm. He's killed me.
Um,
He's killed me.
Buckbeak scratches him.
Malfoy dies.
Malfoy hopefully dies.
But he doesn't.
No, but he doesn't.
But Harry has proven himself to be a worthy.
They go to Hogmeade.
companion.
Harry fucks with him under the cloak of invisibility.
Yeah, girl.
And then he's taken by George and Fred, who give him the Marauders map, so
Marauders
he can find ways to
map.
sneak around to
Mhm.
get away from
Mhm.
Everybody.
Sirius if he needs.
and he could see everybody.
Yes, you can see everybody on the map.
Everybody.
Using this map one night, he's sneaking around and he sees the footprints of Peter Pettigrew, which is
Ooh,
strange because you
'cause
find out
he's
early in the
supposed to
film
be
that
dead.
Sirius
Be
Black
dead.
was supposed to kill him and only left a finger.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Sirius-
confronted by Snape, and Lupin comes in and saves the day, but is like super mad at Harry, even though he's not in front of Snape. He's like, you can't fuck around with this kind of stuff. This is a map directly to you.
Mm-hmm.
If Sirius got this, like, what would happen?
Mm.
And then he tells Lupin, hey, by the way, I don't think that thing works. I saw Peter Pettigrew on there. And Lupin's like, that's impossible. Did you put your name in the
Not yet, not yet.
And then one thing leads to another, and Ron finds his mouse that's been missing and is
Rat.
taken by a Grim and dragged under the Whomping Willow.
Oh.
Bad stuff. It's bad.
Yeah, not great, not ideal.
Scooby Doo mystery ensues.
And it was then the time turner happens. We find out that Sirius is actually an innocent man, and
Lupin is-
Wormtail is a piece of shit who sold out Harry's parents, and he says, "Well, what would you have done?"
So,
And Sirius says one of my favorite lines: "I would have died for them."
I
so
would have
this is
died
all
rather
this
than
is
to
all
betray
kind of
my friends.
yeah,
this is all kind of
so
made
good.
into light because McGonagall is the one that says like Sirius Black was their friend and he set
Yeah.
the Potters
And
up.
he's his godfather.
And Peter Pettigrew was killed
Yeah.
in the thing. But then we get at the very end was that this is actually a flip. And
Yeah.
Peter Pettigrew was actually the friend, and Sirius Black
Mhm.
was the one that was trying
we
to
get a
prevent
double
them.
twist essentially in the
Yeah.
movie.
But yeah, so Lupin's a werewolf.
Then
there's
we
a
time
fight.
Turner so that
Hermione and Harry go
Hermione
back
and Harry
in
go on
time.
this like time adventure, which, as Tom said, deals with time travel better than
Endgame.
Endgame.
Yeah.
And they basically relive all these moments where they were kind of saved by the skin of their teeth.
Mhm.
And you find out that it's actually them saving themselves. They save Buckbeak, and they return back in time right after Dumbledore closes the door from before to tell them to go back in
Super
time.
cool.
And they save the day. Sirius still has to be on the run.
Lupin resigns.
Yep, Lupin resigns, but he's
Trelawney
very
makes
proud.
Her second ever correct prophecy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And we end the day.
Harry replaces his broken broom from Professor McGonagall with the broom that Sirius Black
Yeah.
gives him, which is the firebolt.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
wants to ride on it.
Firebolt.
And then we get that. What did you sing the other day after?
Everywhere
Like,
you look,
everywhere you see, you remain.
What? No, what's happening?
So yeah, that was like.
I compare you to a kiss from a
I
rose.
can't
Azkaban.
escape this song.
It's never gonna
I was
happen.
hoping the new year would make this go away,
Never,
but it's
no.
here to
Now,
stay.
singing's so fun. You said earlier that you sing all the time.
I do, but
Oh,
I
we should
do.
have said "Kiss on a Rose" from the Gray Main. So
Nope.
yeah, I think that was about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
about
at
10
least.
minutes.
Yeah.
I think we
So
all covered it.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
production.
Give us the production.
So this film is distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. The director is Alfonso Curon, who best known from films such as Gravity, Children of Men, and Roma. Check out that episode with Jonathan Frakes. And producers is Christopher Columbus, who did the first two films, who produced films such as Jingle All the Way, Bicentennial Man, I Love You, Beth Cooper. David Heyman, who did Paddington for Josh.
Paddington.
I said Paddington. didn't
I know.
Okay, Paddington for Josh. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Bruce Lee. I Am Legend for Caitlin. And Mark Radcliffe, who produced films such as Christmas Chronicles, Mrs. Doubtfire for Corey.
No relation.
The Help. Lauren Orleans, who produced the IMAX version, which is interesting because all his credits say the IMAX versions.
Weird.
Produced the IMAX version of V for Vendetta, Transformers, and The Dark Knight. Writer Steve Kloves, who is well known to done all the Harry Potter stuff, but things that you haven't heard of: The Amazing Spider-Man, Wonder Boys, and Flesh and Bone.
Oh, he did the best Spider-Man film.
The worst one. And then the
he
cast
didn't do
is
Spider-Man 3.
no, he did Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, so the best one.
He did
Cool.
he did Stuttering Peter Parker.
Uh-huh.
So Daniel Radcliffe, who was in films such as Horns, Lady in White, and Swiss Army Man. Rupert Grint, Charlie Countryman, Moonwalkers, and the Snatch TV show.
And the Ed Sheeran music video.
And Emma Watson, who was not recently, I guess I feel like it was recent, but was in Bling Ring, Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Beauty and the Beast. Gary Oldman, The Fifth Element, The Professional, and Darkest Hour, where he got the Academy Award. And Alan Rickman, who is from Galaxy Quest, Dogma, and Die Hard. And David Thewlis,
Hell yeah.
who is I remember mostly from Dragonheart. But you may remember him from films such as Wonder Woman and The Omen.
And the Big Lebowski.
And The Big Lebowski as a nihilist. No, it's not a nihilist.
Not
He's
a
just-
nihilist.
He's
He's
just a
the friend.
But
He's
they
the
dress the same.
writer.
He laughs a lot.
Release date was June 4th, 2004. Runtime is 142 minutes. Gross and budget. So the budget of the film was 130 million, and it grossed 796.9 million.
It is the
Oh.
only movie in the franchise to not cross 800.
Really?
The Rotten
Yet.
Tomato score for it is 90. No, Karen.
Re-release in theaters this week.
This is Harry Potter Endgame. So our Rotten Tomato score is 90% critics and 86% audience.
Nice.
That's done.
Sweet.
So
We're
that
on a
brings
fucking
us
roll.
to
Dun, dun,
our
dun, 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 dun.
favorite parts, characters, and the rest of the meat and potatoes
Sweet.
of the show.
Mikey, you want to start us off on our favorite parts here?
Favorite parts or favorite characters first?
Favorite parts.
Favorite parts.
Just pick one, and we'll go round
It's
robin.
probably Lupin's mustache.
You
My
know,
favorite part
probably yeah.
of him.
You
Okay,
know,
Caitlin.
you know what? I talked about it, and this is probably.
We were talking about favorite body parts, right?
It's more appropriate
Not
here
the
than it is
same.
in
Oh,
Wonder
sorry.
Well,
Woman.
then it's Peter Pettigrew's finger.
Oh, okay. yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna get really specific because I really
That's
really
called Tell Don't
enjoyed
Show.
the movie this time around. I think my favorite part was probably in the staircases, watching Sir Cadogan in the background.
Oh, yeah.
They never
the
mention
ghost.
him, but he is
In the books
he's
they do.
sprinkled
In
in
the
the
book.
books a million times, and he's just this cowardly knight in the background that takes up all the background space, and he just
He's like that
In
one.
the book, he's just trolls people.
yeah.
Like
It-
that's his.
Oh,
funny.
in
He's
the
a piece of
paintings?
shit.
Yeah,
the
in a
paintings.
normal,
Oh, yeah,
in
it
a
was like,
normal, in a normal film,
yeah.
he would have been like an extra that's too much.
Yeah.
But this was like perfect.
Yeah. So I think it was just more broad. The attention to detail that you
The
can't
one where
really
he pops
totally,
up in the background when they're looking at the missing
Yeah.
lady.
it got me. It got me. Also, I would say that
Oh.
just how sweet McGonagall
It
is
is to be
and
loved by
Lupin
you.
is to the kids, and
Yeah.
how
McGonagall's not sweet at all.
she's so sweet. When she tells Potter he can't go to Hogwarts,
no, she's like, no, I am not a parent or a guardian. That would be inappropriate.
When
and
she
she goes
said-
back, I'm sorry.
when
she
he
gotta
says
follow
that's
the
my
rules.
final word, I was like, you feel it. She wants him.
She
to
doesn't
go.
want to do it,
Yeah.
She doesn't want to.
She's
do
got
it.
but she's
Gotta.
got to. I remember how much you loved the Lupin line of "Eat this, you'll feel better."
You'll feel better.
And it's Sean.
Yeah.
He says it like
Whoa.
three.
He says it like 3 times.
two or three times.
It's just sweet.
And my theory behind it, and I don't remember if they talk about it in the books, is that he does the same thing after waking up from being a werewolf. Is that he has
Eats
chocolate
chocolate.
so that he can like
Yeah.
feel better
Yeah, makes
because he's
sense.
like
He's
lost
like,
of
oh,
sugar
I
and
killed a
stuff.
lot of people. I have some chocolate.
And I think that's why I want to believe that's probably why it's one of his character traits. And that's
or he
why
just
it's-
hangs around
It's
Dementors.
100% my headcanon now.
right.
so.
Yeah, like
well, they say that JK's the Dementors represented her,
Her depression.
Do you think she ate chocolate when she
Yeah,
felt
for
depressed?
sure.
oh yeah,
Do you think that was like
chocolate's the what's
chocolate
that, what's
releases
That thing?
endorphins.
What's that sexual thing?
Serotonin?
It's are you talking about it's a
Aphrodisiac.
Yeah, aphrodisiac.
So yeah, chemical changes and stuff like that.
But
so
it
of course.
releases
Ergo
endorphins in your
Yeah.
brain.
So why not?
That is not the same.
But she also said that Lupin's one of her favorite characters she ever wrote, and if she ever wanted to meet one of her characters, that would be the one.
Oh.
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's a good
I'll-
dude.
I'll talk more about him when we talk about the Marauders.
Yeah.
But he's just the best.
Any other favorite parts? Who wants to
I
jump
mean,
in?
we've only had Mikey. So
I know. I'm just saying.
everyone
Who
can
wants to jump in?
go. So for me,
so no more favorite parts. Cool.
okay.
On to qualms.
Favorite part for me, I think
Probably when you see the castle for the first time.
I
Dun,
That was pretty good.
dun, 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 dun.
I was just
Those who don't know.
I was just gonna
Just a
say it's
callback
like
to
when
our
the
past
first
two
time you see the
episodes.
castle, you know, it's really. Actually, I think I really kind of liked the circular motifs that was going on through the film. So like 3 of them that I can kind of think about is
The balls?
No,
There's spheres.
things that came from the beginning that was in the beginning that also showed up at the end.
Oh.
Or showed up throughout. So like just this like Harry having to connect other people's pieces of what his parents were.
Dementors
It's all
feed on
from
your spheres.
hearsay. I really liked the motif of there is a sense of Harry's always looking through something or at something, so his world is always skewed differently.
Mm.
And so, like, one of the first few times that I really kind of noticed it was like when he's on the train, and then he's like, "Oh, I passed out. What happened?" Blah blah. And it's like, "Why did no one else pass out?" And then he looks over at the trolley train's window, and it's like a silhouetted version of him with rain, and it's like kind of distorting his view of himself, and it's kind of like this is what's happening to him. And then also just the time of seasons changing. It's a small thing, but it is like pair that with like all the imagery of clocks, and it's like how much time is passing. You really kind of feel it throughout this versus like in the other films, it was kind of like it's the beginning of the school year. Now it's Christmas. Now it's not. Versus
Yeah.
it's like you see the
And
spring. you
using
see
the Whomping Willow to do that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Poor
like,
bluebirds.
but also like going to Hogsmeade for the first time, then going to Hogsmeade during this during when it's snowing,
Yeah.
and then so the end of the film, it's like it's not anymore. So it's like certain things like that where it's like this is that Degrassi fucking OC shit of his life, where it's like it's such teen drama, angsty bullshit. And I'm just like, yeah, these are really smart, strong things to have throughout the film that play and discuss those things. Like not even just being a wizard, but being a regular human being. Those are all tough things to go about.
I've always liked the sort of winter transitions in these
Of
movies.
course you do.
Like, they're just like
It's
they're
so
really nicely
cozy.
done and they're cozy.
My
and
wife was talking about that. Apparently, because of how much winter is in these films, it's
Yeah.
like one of the more popular movies to watch during Christmas time.
Girl, I've been saying they're
sense.
Christmas movies since
Like all of them.
they're
Yeah.
all Christmas movies.
Like not shout out to Target and Best Buy. I was trying to buy Mikey a copy for Christmas, and it's sold out everywhere.
Whoa,
Jesus.
what?
There had none at Best Buy, none at Target, none at Walmart. Not
Corey,
a single copy.
you and Dana are my prongs and my padfoot, but not my wormtail.
That's okay.
I'll be your
bad
worm.
with that.
That's Tom. Yep.
I'll be
I'm
a
a bit
worm in your
too.
tail.
Are you gonna kiss my cheek?
Probably.
I'm a bit too moony for that. What are you gonna do? So, my favorite parts. Honestly, the Defense Against the Dark Arts class with the Boggarts was
Mm.
one of my favorites.
That's
and,
pretty
and
great.
learning that they
Yeah.
feed off your greatest spheres
It almost has
Uh,
the same cantina music from Star Wars.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Like it was
Yeah.
the first time the Defense Against the Dark Arts class has been fun and not terrifying.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really dug, of course, until the Dementor comes out. And what does he say? He's like, shows that the thing you fear is fear itself.
Yeah, of course he's like
Talking to him on the
he's like,
bridge.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry for you having to step in to stop the Dementor. He's like, I wasn't afraid of the Dementor. I was afraid I was going to turn to Voldemort.
Yep.
Yeah, he
He
wasn't ready for it.
and then he's like, no, I'm more afraid of Dementors and all that.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So I dug that, and then the talk he has about that whole talk on the bridge is just fantastic, and talking about his parents and
Yeah.
him saying, you have more trauma in your life than anyone
Yeah.
could really truly understand. All the talks he has with Lupin are
Oh,
just great.
Real good.
There's
Real
a
good.
good
Yeah.
part in that where Lupin talks about how his life was saved by Lily. He's like,
Yeah.
you have your father's face, but you have your
Oh,
mother's
I love
eyes.
that, yeah.
I know.
And then so it shows again that continuing idea of like this film is a lot about depression, and then also how like Lily saved him. He's like, when I was at my darkest place.
Yeah.
Processing grief.
Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think and honestly, one of my favorite parts is because I still kind of feel it every time I watch it, just that tension at least. Not quite
Mhm.
as much, of course, as the first time I like read it. I felt it more watching it than reading it. Was the double twist, the
Oh,
twist
yeah.
of
And the
Sirius being
Shrieking
there,
Shack.
Mhm.
Lupin coming in and saving him, and being like, "Oh, good, Lupin's here," and then them hugging, and you're like, "Oh, what?"
But his the performance changed too. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
was very coy
Super.
in a scary
well,
way.
because Lupin
Yeah.
has the wand and just looks at Harry. He's like, he deserves to know before it dies.
Yeah,
It's like, the fuck, man.
That's just knowing. That's
He
just
deserves to
knowing.
know before we kill him.
Yeah, before we kill him.
And like, I think the writing's it's really well acted because I
David Thewlis,
personally believe that both him and
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman are in their own fucking class of their own because
Oh, yeah.
that's hard to act if you know the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To play that like we're talking about someone else, but Harry's gonna think we're talking about him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we need to lean into it just enough, but not enough so that it's
Peter
not.
Pettigrew gets
We need to know in our back of our minds that we're talking about Peter Pettigrew. I just think that's a fantastically well written, acted, and blocked scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have them on one side, them on the other
And then
side.
Snape shows up, and like my question is, what kind of
Spell did Hermione?
spell did he do? Because that's
Wait.
not
Which what?
No, that Hermione did, or
Harry does it.
because he
supposed
blasted.
to say
he did like
it's
an
supposed to do
Expelliarmus.
Expelliarmus, but it hits Snape in the chest instead and knocks him clean. Every other time I've seen Expelliarmus, it takes the weapon out of their hand.
It's like when Hermione opens up the Bumbleclot. and
Yeah, yeah.
Well, isn't it like that if you're thinking about it hard enough?
I thought
like-
it looked like stupefy to me,
But
but like
it is a disarming spell. But I think if you hit somebody square with it, like it will.
that was amazing.
So you
Versus
gotta-
anyway,
all the weak.
I honestly think that's probably my favorite scene in the entire movie, and just the way it plays out with
Yeah.
Wormtongue. And like, the line he said again, I would have died. I would have rather died than betray my friends. Like
Right.
you get that's the save the cat moment of
Mm-hmm.
Sirius. Then you understand completely who he is.
Yeah.
Uh,
Kudos to the art department, set designer, and set dressing. The
oh, how it's
building's-
moving the
it's
whole
swaying.
time
So cool.
I never noticed that the door is swinging because the whole building's swaying, but
because
that's
it's
like
the willow's moving.
that's fantastic
Yeah.
design. I don't know if I ever really paid attention.
Till we
to,
pointed
No, I
it out.
definitely
Till you
did not.
pointed out, but then it never really.
Like
You
the curtains
especially
were
see
like
it-
waving because
Yeah.
it was moving. I thought it was like the wind whipping
especially
through or
see it when
something.
I think that's
comes
what I thought
in,
it was too.
and you
but
can see
it's
the-
just
the
You see it
building,
really
it's
go.
the
Like they're-
entire building
yeah.
moving.
on unsecured ground.
and it's practical.
It's like they don't know what to
Super
be.
practical.
It's
Uh,
almost like it's
fucking
film
cool.
language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caitlin or Ollie?
I really
Ollie, then?
enjoyed. Do you want?
No
wanna
go. He's messing with you right now.
Thanks for making me feel like crap.
Aw.
You're welcome.
Yeah, anytime. My favorite parts. I really enjoyed the fly with the hippogriff. Like
The flying, the Titanic moment.
yes.
The
Yeah.
first,
Yeah,
the aerial shots, like were always
he
great.
Rose DeWitt caters him.
Yeah.
That's
What?
That's Rose from Titanic.
yeah.
Oh.
That's her full name.
So the flight, Ollie, before Mikey takes your part.
Sorry.
No,
Oh,
it's,
maybe you
I
guys
mean
wanna
it's
do
just
Titanic.
it's just a fun watch. Like it's cool to see him go through, and then the fight with the Dementors, like or whatever. Not really a fight, but when the Dementors attack him up in the air, and it just like
During
the
Quidditch?
atmosphere. Oh yeah, those were two different things.
Yeah.
So yeah, the flyover is great, and then the Quidditch is also really
Mhm.
cool. I like that. Like I love that it was just raining the
But
entire
also,
time.
Yeah.
I do love that fucking Dumbledore came out like a goddamn Jesus.
Just his hand
But
up.
no, yeah,
Bam! Put his hand.
yeah.
I was like,
that
God damn.
Quidditch match I really dug just because the fact that it was just
Raining.
pouring and like it was very tense. Like
Yeah.
like other Quidditch
Well, it
matches.
starts at 9.
Shout out to the
Right. It starts
technically they recast, but the other Seeker that he's flying against in the book is Cedric Diggory,
Oh.
the Hufflepuff that he's
Oh,
flying
yeah.
with in the air. But then they recast it with Robert Pattinson.
With Batman.
yeah.
Team Edward. Go Team
Yeah,
Edward.
Team Edward.
I would
You
say
read the books.
Cedric Diggory, that wasn't the guy who helped him in the first film, right?
That was Wood.
That was Wood.
Oliver Wood, yeah.
Have
Yeah,
we,
that's
had-
right.
Have we
Looked
seen
different.
Cedric Diggory cinematically?
I don't think so. I think
No.
it's
Not
all-
until Goblet of Fire.
it's in the night.
Oh,
Yeah.
then.
I mean, technically,
No,
you
yeah,
do.
Goblet of Fire.
Oh, in this one.
In
and
this
then
one.
in the
It's just
fourth
not
one.
So in the
casting.
Quidditch match, when he's flying with the
Yeah.
other Seeker,
and
that's
he
Cedric
freezes
Diggory.
and pieces out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the cast
Huh.
whatever guy before he becomes like a
Wow.
Major plot
or whatever.
Okay.
but yeah, really the Quidditch match was definitely one of my favorite parts for sure.
That was
Caitlin?
really cool.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I
You're
would
watching
say
Disney.
most of the stuff with the time turner,
Mhm.
just because I think I'm just really feeling Hermione's schedule right now.
Yeah.
And just like watching her appear everywhere, and
When did she get here?
Has she been here the whole time?
and like pulling all that through, and then like the whole time adventure was great. I loved the like ticking that was playing in the background.
Yeah.
They would come in and go out, and I
Yep.
kept like once I was aware of it, I tried to stay aware of how long it was there, but then my mind actually created the sound of it. And then I realized that I wasn't actually hearing it. It was like happening in my head, and then I was like, "Oh my god, what's
You're
Like
using
a-
it
like a
for,
placebo
tension.
effect.
yeah, it was a placebo effect of me like knowing that the ticking was there before and that it was going to come back, but I didn't know when, so I could keep hearing the ticking in my head the whole time, and it was crazy.
That's crazy.
That's
it
crazy.
was crazy.
Gaslight's
yeah.
not real. You're being crazy.
Yeah.
So I got one as well. I just got to do a little shout out for the
Do
fucking
it.
shot with Mr. Weasley and Harry explaining who the fuck Sirius Black
The
is.
one shot?
Oh, the one shot?
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's a long take, yeah. It's a one shot scene, and it's just phenomenal because like Mr. Weasley comes in and then he picks up Harry and they're talking amongst the family members, and then you overhear certain things that the family members talking about, and then he pulls him to
Pulls him.
the right side of the frame, and then so they're slightly hidden underneath the stairs,
Who's in the
but then
foreground?
they're like
The
half,
poster.
half illuminated. Yeah, in front of us, close thing to the cameras is a picture of Sirius Black, but it's a moving picture, so whatever you want to call it.
And then it
It's a GIF.
pans.
And
over.
but like so that first
Here they come!
they're like their second position, like they're halfway illuminated by the light that's leaking out from the main room, and then they try to sneak away because it's getting more serious conversation. So like if you turned off the audio and didn't even know what they're talking about, you knew it was getting more intense and it was more secretive. And then so they get closer to the camera, but then that means they're covered by more darkness. And then finally they sneak into a hallway, and then it's purely dark, and you only see silhouettes of them. And then the camera then sweeps into Corey. Sweeps into, I just saw glasses. Sweeps into Harry's face, and then he's like, "Why would I look for someone?"
Because I
who's
have the
trying to kill me?"
scar now.
Well,
Oh, yeah, a little bit. It's
Corey
not-
Potter.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's more like a
I'm okay with
sideways
that.
Harry
parenthesis.
Powers.
I'll
Yeah.
write it for you.
and Mikey could be Ron.
You could be Buckbeak.
I'd love to be Buckbeak. Or Ron.
Ride me.
Oh,
Oh.
what other parts?
My
I will
my.
not. I'm a Christian man.
Oh, what about Draco getting punched in the fucking face?
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh,
Oh,
Right, dude.
when she punches him, whoever actually did the punch, whether it was Emma Watson or
It's a
if
weird
it,
punch.
It
right?
was. It
no,
was.
it was like blam. It was like elbow snapped the other
her,
way.
well,
It
her,
was
her
her.
hand kind of felt open.
So
Yeah.
originally in the rehearsals, it was a slap, and so she was
Oh.
stage slapping him because the way the camera's positioned. And Tom Felton was like, "Just slap me, it's fine." And apparently, she like slapped the fuck out of him and felt awful, so they changed it to a fake punch.
Hell yeah.
Because Alfonso saw that and he was like, "It'd be great if he got hit fucking hard, but let's not actually hit him hard. So let's change it to a fake punch instead of a real hard slap."
Alfonso,
yeah.
Alfonso was more like,
decision.
I think it'd be better.
You want to know something interesting? So when he was talking to the SFX about the
The
Dementors,
special effects were out
yes,
there.
special effects
Oh, yes.
team about the Dementors, he said that he wanted there to be ice, but he has an accent. So they
Ass.
3 weeks later they came back to him and he said all the rain had turned to eyes. So they had we're coming up with the rain turning to eyeballs and falling from the sky. And he said apparently he just laughed for a solid minute. A solid minute. It was like, no, ice. And they were like,
that's gonna cost a lot of
ice.
money.
So much easier.
Well, they just did the drawings and
Do you think they
concept
always
art.
wanted to clarify, but nobody had the balls to go up to him and ask
Probably.
him again?
Well, I mean, they're doing so many things.
Did
So
you
he
say
probably said, I wanted
eyes
to turn
or
to
ice?
eyes. And they all looked at each other and said, eyes, right?
But
Yeah, he said,
also,
"Eyes."
this is their first time
Prisoner
going
of Azkaban.
they're going with another director, and so this is the
That's
first time
true.
they're like, oh, we brought him in because he has a vision. So
Creative vision
A
of
vision of
Alfonso.
eyes.
whatever the fuck that
Yes.
means, maybe he has a thing, and it's that's what it is. And so Christopher Columbus
That's
is probably
funny.
just I don't know, I did that shit. I don't know what the fuck he wants, so let him do what the fuck he wants. And that's
Ooh.
probably what it was. Because Chris Columbus went from producing to this one, and so
Yeah.
he I don't think a lot of people asked him questions on the first two. So he's like, why am I going to ask questions from him on this one?
Another one of my favorite parts was the night bus scene.
Oh,
The
yeah,
entirety
night
of
bus was
that.
great.
Gonna be a bumper
Just glad he
ride.
didn't take an Azkaban. He got to take a bus instead. So no, but seriously, I learned something interesting about that.
Welcome to the groaning episode.
I have a bunch of trivia written
Groaning
down here
Myrtle?
that I'm going to kind of sprinkle
This is
in.
groaning up.
But not
Oh
only did
my.
that sequence look awesome and was really exciting, and you got a lot of interesting exposition
Mhm.
without
Tons.
knowing it.
The Muggles don't notice anything.
J.K. Rowling has two grandfathers named Ernie and Stanley,
No.
which are the shrunken head and the driver in the night
Ah.
bus. And I thought that was really interesting.
You know what's
Aw.
also really interesting is Stan Shunpike turns his back on everybody and becomes a Death Eater in the 7th or 6th book.
Really?
Yeah,
what a
accidental.
piece
He
of
was,
shit.
he was confronted, I
Spoilers!
think. Yeah.
He's
So
a
what a way to
terrible-
rub
he's
your
a
grandfather's
terrible-
name through the mud.
He's
Jack.
a terrible Azkaban. And so
Oh my god!
the way
They're
they
never
achieved
gonna
the
stop.
look of the night bus scene is that they had the bus drive normally and every other car drive really slow, and they filmed at a slower speed
Yeah.
so that when they sped the film back up,
Whoa.
it would look surreal.
They'd
And
have
I thought that was really
they'd have to
interesting.
do at least at 12 frames per second.
Yeah.
Because they could double it up and it'd be an even number.
Right. So
Whoa.
I thought that was really fascinating. And it works really well. It really looks, the way it moves is terrifying. When it stops for a little old lady, probably one of my favorite scenes.
Hey,
One and three
water
quarters.
long faces.
I would be, and that's my wife's favorite part. Shout out to my wife. The
Attention
night bus.
to deal
Dila de los Muertos.
Yes, attention to details in this movie, I think, is a general favorite thing for me. Like
Alfonso
Lupin's,
doesn't fuck around with that shit.
not at all. Like
Mhm.
the when Harry's flying on the hippogriff and they go over the water, Buckbeak sticks his his
One of
foot
Mikey's
in the
talons.
water.
I was gonna actually say that.
and
a
it's
second ago.
like that's so much extra effort
Yeah.
to do that because you could have just made him fly and then the reflection and then easy peasy.
Remember,
But-
Mikey, what you said when we were watching it? He was like, "This was 2003."
It looked great.
It looks so
Yeah.
good.
That
They
probably-
probably just
Mikey.
used the green stick.
It probably
on-
took months to.
On the mic.
on the mic.
It probably
To
took
render
months
that
to
or
render that out, though.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like,
It was beautiful.
because
was one of the
Shrek.
only-
How long did Shrek take? Like a year to
Well, yeah.
render?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Oh
this
my
was one of the
God.
only pure CG characters in this one, so it's a
And it
little
poops.
bit
Yeah.
easier to
It does.
focus on and make it look good.
It
looked
poops during the
great.
class.
Yeah.
And it poops during
Didn't
class.
notice that.
It's
He
the-
did that for
wow.
us.
They did it for us.
There's
It's only the second time an animal had
you
pooped
catch
on
it
screen
right
CG.
at the beginning of the shot as he begins to start to walk. He
Uh-huh.
poops and then starts to walk
Wow.
towards the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other tiny little things that I think my favorite one was when Lupin is packing up his office and we didn't need to see all the suitcases and
Nope.
everything
But how cool
rolling
was it?
up and
It's all about-
closing and everything.
And all the practical effects it was. Like,
Yeah.
that was all
I
practical.
know
Yeah,
it was beautiful. The
tell.
shoes going in, the shirts going in, all of that didn't need to happen. They could have just had a conversation, but they showed it. They went so far. The singing toads in the beginning,
Oh, yeah.
they did not need to hold
didn't need to do
magical
that.
toads, but they gave them toad puppets.
I don't remember there being a choir in the
baseline.
book, but there could
I
have
don't
been.
either, but it was super cool.
I don't think there was, but I remember reading Alfonso
song in
Curon
there?
was like, I want this Shakespeare bit
Nice.
put to music, and John Oliver was
John Oliver.
Good night, everyone. As always, we're not-
Ollivanders. You're watching Disney
John
Channel.
Williams was like, okay, and so he just put that Shakespearean, the Three Witches brew to his own music.
Wow.
It was gorgeous.
It was
It was
wonderful.
so good.
Yeah.
The one thing, there's something I really liked is that there's difference in how the camera plays in this one.
Mhm.
The camera is much more of an active player.
Mm.
So even on the bus
Like when he
sequence,
passes out too.
yeah, when he's on the bus, you're not seeing the bus driver turn, you're inside the wheel.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
different things like that as well, where you're walking next to the characters, not you're just watching them. And it kind of makes you feel like these are all things happening to you. not happening. You're just watching characters.
Well,
get
pulls you in,
affected.
especially in the night bus scene. It
Yeah.
really pulls you into it. It feels
Yeah,
you kind of
like,
chaotic when you see the giant wheel up in your
Well,
face.
like there's just shots of like us moving towards all the moving seat or all the little beds, or
Mhm.
every time like someone's face gets hit or something like that, like the camera moves with them. So it's an active player instead of just an
Yeah, when
omniscient
Harry
one.
hits his face against the glass, it moves in to meet him at the glass.
Yeah,
which
and
is
that
pretty
happens
cool.
a lot. And then also like the fact that this is like the more horror aspect film, like there's a lot of like swoop ins that happen to people's eyes. It's like, oh,
Is this
shit.
another one of those horror filmmakers who became mainstream?
Alfonso Curon, I don't think was any type of horror
Oh.
filmmaker though.
But he did a good job
He
either
did a great
way.
job.
well, that's the thing is he understood the theme of it, and like especially like putting in that Shakespeare. Like,
Yeah,
come on,
I
something wicked this way comes.
from Macbeth.
It's like, are you
Yeah.
basically explaining
legit.
Sirius Black?
I would not mind if like Guillermo del Toro like did another Harry Potter, but not anything connected to these two series
Yeah.
that we have. That'd be fucking amazing.
Well, the
I
thing I
would
love about
watch
this
that.
is that it didn't feel like it was trying to overdo it in
Mhm.
any way. Like I feel like if maybe I'm wrong, but
You are.
if Del Toro were to come in, it would have maybe been
He was actually slated
much.
for this,
was he?
and
I wonder.
he suggested Alfonso.
Wow.
Interesting. That's
You
good.
know why? Because the Brown homies got each other's backs, baby.
But I'm very curious because I'm curious to see what it was, but I don't know if it would have been necessarily a
Probably
better fit.
Hufflepuff.
I think this was. I think they picked the
Ravenclaw.
perfect director for this. Like he was able to perform, like make the material happen, which is not something like in his particular wheelhouse.
Mhm.
That theme and like the dark sort of.
I
look of it,
agree.
but
I mean, he has his own style, but
Or-
this is definitely like, there's a lot more special effects and different
Yeah.
world things that you have to kind of address versus
He's-
just being like,
but it was
oh,
nice to see him like
well, much like Del Toro,
his
he's
skill
not a
set-
guy who like does shit on the fly.
right.
Like he's a man with an Azkaban plan, and he doesn't. I'm serious though. Like he's
bless you.
plotted this out completely, and you can tell. Like
Yeah.
the types of shot composition that he uses is not something like, oh, we could just set it up this way. Like
Mhm.
he understood the
Took on the
story.
challenge.
Like like you said, he understood the themes.
Yeah.
He understood the story. He found what's important in that, and
Right.
found a way to amplify it
and
to
it
the
just,
nth degree.
It just comes out like Aska wham.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
You
Not
get it.
you too,
You get it,
Tom.
Tom.
Tom, welcome
Me too.
aboard, buddy.
One of us.
One of us.
That's what he
No.
says
This
before
is
he screens
great.
it for the execs.
Wow.
Another thing that I really liked was so to Caitlin's point, there are circular motifs. There are circular items in a lot of places, and you get a lot of you get a big hint of it at the first scene with Mrs. Trunchbull.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The
so-
aunt.
so good.
What?
The
She's from,
the woman that blows up into a
Matilda,
circle.
girlfriend.
Matilda.
Come on.
I thought I knew her.
Yeah, you
oh
did.
My God.
Don't
Oh.
don't look at me like I'm weird and all
She
be like,
tried
oh
to
my
Brucey
God,
you.
You're
again."
always weird, but yeah.
You can't
Um,
Brucey Harry.
So the first scene, everything downstairs is like very circular. So like the obviously plates and
The food,
table,
the
but
ribs.
like the telephone and everything around them, and the only things that typically that are comforting in Harry's room are all squares. And then that comes
Like his
in-
wand.
And that comes into later on where he's in Hogwarts and everything around him is very circular. The stairway is circular, the clock, all those pieces of imagery, the geometric shapes. Like this is the point of time where Harry should be uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like a very interesting thing where it's like he's found comfort in everything that has been like in one shape or another, but now he's having to live in places that are more in a different shape. And I was just
Well,
like,
he's like an angsty teen now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what
Oh.
it is. Circles don't fit the square.
The spiders. Those spiders.
You tell
Making
them.
me- tell him, Ron.
Making me tap
I'll
dance.
tell those spiders.
Fucking
Do you know why he's afraid of spiders?
Because he's a
Because
ginger.
they have 8 eyes.
Yeah,
Or-
but
or 8 legs.
so there was a I forget which book it's in, or if it's in like
Your head cannon.
J.K. Rowling talked about it somewhere else.
Headcanon.
No, there was a story about how when he was younger, his broom broke, and his like toy broom broke, and he went to like comfort himself with his teddy bear, and Fred and George turned it into a spider. Do
Oh,
you remember that?
Vaguely.
And then
I
of
should
course
remember
the
it.
spiders.
Yeah.
From other.
Which-
So it's like a
A theme.
reoccurring thing with
Which,
Ron is
but
that he's
also,
afraid of
I
spiders.
did like how, I mean, again, this is all in the writing and all this stuff. I did like how this film was like, last film, we wrote Hermione out. This film, we write Ron out of the
Yeah.
last, like,
Mm.
fun adventure
Important
thing.
part.
Well, I mean, it's
It's in the book.
yeah.
And so in the first one, it's kind of like each person, like, cool, you're the first pawn that goes away. You're the second pawn that goes away. Now, Harry, you do your thing. And the second one, it's like, all right, Hermione, peace out. Now it's time for Ron and Harry. And now it's like, this one's like, all right, peace out, Ron. Now it's just time for Ron and Hermione. So everyone gets their own fun and play in their own movie.
We won't spend too much time on favorite parts, but I do want to bring up the Hermione throwing fucking shade at Trelawney,
Oh, yeah. Just being like, fuck this
Yeah.
divination.
Yeah.
throwing the crystal ball off the
Yeah.
table, just
Well,
smacking it
I
out
would
of the
say
way.
this. Look, divination, I could see the future is one thing. Bitch, I can go back in time and make sure you never saw shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Didn't
Like,
think
I
of
have
that.
a time turner.
That's pretty solid.
How can you tell me what you see and don't see versus I could go back in time?
Uh-huh.
So
But she sees the future.
yeah, so I can kill her and she doesn't see shit.
But I don't get what that has to do with what we're talking about. I don't understand.
I'm just saying.
I don't understand. Yeah, I just the shade all
great.
day.
It's
Just being like, I'm over this fuck
That's
this
the, that's
shit.
the,
I'm out.
That's the T. That's
Yeah.
literally the T.
I love
Yeah.
that she's like, I made time in my life.
Yeah.
Extra
I
time.
made time.
Literal time. I made literal time to be here, and you make my life like this?
You tell me my hands are
I'm
wrinkly
good.
like old women's.
Yeah, that's okay. I have grandpa hands, so I relate.
You have grandpa whole body.
Not for long.
Dumbledore's
Ooh,
Army.
Dumbledore's Army.
Swole Patrol.
Ooh, Swole Patrol.
All right, favorite
Ravenclaw.
characters.
Yeah, start us off.
So let's do main characters are the trio,
Mhm.
and then side characters are everyone that's not.
Okay.
So
Okay.
favorite character in this one is probably Harry for me. I feel like I related to him the most. Like once I started being stupid and young, and I was like, oh, I get it. And then for a side character, I would have to say favorite character is Lupin. He's so fucking good in this movie. He's literally the new father, because in the first films it was like Dumbledore and Hagrid were like the surrogate father, and like that's a really big part of like developing your characters. Like this is the second father that they ultimately have to adopt to learn the lesson they need to learn for this film.
Mm.
And McGonagall wasn't that for him, and you kind of see him try to lean on that, but then it's not that she didn't want it. It's just that for
That's not-
plot you kind of have to not, and so it's like you
Yeah.
have to learn from
Mhm.
someone else that can offer you something more. And then the next
Yeah.
films will be Sirius Black.
Ollie Ollie.
Mine is good
Hewlett.
old HP.
Hewlett Packard?
Yeah, he's solid.
I was gonna say Ollie Ollie Azka-free.
I love Daniel Radcliffe has nailed down the cast intense spell thing. So like expecto patronum, and it's like so well done. The nature of this
I knew
spell,
I could do it because I'd done it.
this spell or this charm doesn't cast very epically.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a slowly growing light. So when he says that, like the thing that comes out of it is kind of like very slow, kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But he says it really good.
He says it great.
He says it great.
Well, if you think about it, it's more angelic instead of just like this violent force.
Yeah, it's an awesome charm.
Yeah. You're an awesome charm.
Side
But
character.
side character is got to be Sirius Black. Because I mean, I think I like him more in like
'Cause
the next
Commissioner
one or
Gordon.
the one after the next one. I can't remember which one. He has like a expanded part in it. It's the
but
next
for
one,
this
right?
one.
In the
for
next
this
one,
one.
in the
For
next
this
one,
one-
he's a piece of fire.
But I loved like Gary Oldman.
Order of the Phoenix is when he becomes a bigger
That's
character.
what it was. But Gary
five.
Oldman,
And then he
perfect casting because like nobody else has his freaking range
Mhm.
that can and sell a psychopath.
I was
and
talking
then-
about it the other day. I was like, it's perfect casting because up until that point, he had really only played bad guys. He hadn't
That's
been
true.
Gordon yet.
He hadn't been Gordon yet.
So like, who do you cast when you want your audience to believe that he's the bad guy?
I think the last thing I saw from him had been like it was either the Zorg or Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
Mm.
Who do you cast when you want your
Or
audience to
Dr.
believe a
Smith,
bad
whatever.
guy
Kevin Spacey.
that is actually secretly a good guy?
Right.
It's fucking Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. And then
The guy who's
he
known for playing
nails-
bad guys.
He nails the warm and tender stuff as well.
He
So-
compared this Harry Potter scripts, like talking about the wizarding stuff and the emotional range that it goes through to
Mhm.
doing Shakespeare on stage.
Wow.
Shakespeare.
I
Yeah,
can
he
see
was
that.
like, it was
He's-
difficult to like say shit like spell names and
Yeah.
commit to it, but like find the intention behind it, even
Mhm.
though you're saying,
and then
you
look
know,
like
Aloha
you're,
Mora.
look like you
fuck does that mean?
convincingly want to kill Harry Potter in one scene, and that you're his godfather and genuinely like
And you want him to
and
live
love
with you.
him and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's such a like that because those two scenes happen like right back
Yeah.
to back, and you're just like, oh my god, how did
Whiplash.
you just switched it? Yeah, you get a
Character
little bit of
whiplash.
Well,
Exactly.
It's like he has like a Joker-esque moment too, because Harry has a wand to his face. So you think he like starts laughing. You think you're gonna kill me?
Mm.
And it's like, oh fuck it, baby.
It's like the prisoner near
What is it?
Crucio of
I've done my
Azkaban.
waiting. 12 years.
Yeah.
And then also he's just like, if you ever want a place, you know, you can I live with you? Oh, well, I guess.
But then, no, right now.
No, but I'm gonna
Not-
die. So
Now is a bad time.
now I'm gonna go die.
Yeah,
Mikey?
in
I
between.
also, can I just say it's pretty dope that Buckbeak immediately likes him?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would have been really not good if he didn't.
Right.
Pretty
Like,
dangerous
it's
there,
impressive
Hagrid.
that
Like you
Buckbeak
can
was like,
see
"This guy
inside
fucks."
you and knows.
This
Yeah.
guy, this guy
Mikey?
fucks.
Favorite main?
favorite main character?
The
Hagrid.
trio. The trio.
We
The
could-
trio.
oh, the trio.
Three.
Ron, because he is just
Oh,
You.
he's Chucky
I did mention,
Finster.
I forgot to mention one of my favorite parts is getting to see Hagrid teach.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
I think Central
Harry?
character is always Ron. He just always
Ron.
He's me. He's
But you
the-
were just there.
But now you're here.
But now
Yeah.
you're there. Did anyone see him come in? Yeah, he's just like he's Chucky Finster of the group. He's super skeptic and super scared, and I relate to
Brilliant.
that.
I always said that. I think I said this the other day too. I said I always thought he was the best out of the three for the
For casting?
casting wise.
Mhm.
Like Harry, Daniel Radcliffe gets a better actor as time goes on.
Mhm.
Hermione
He,
was.
he Luke Hamill's it. Or Mark
Hermione's,
Hamill's it.
Emma Watson's very good, but Rupert Grint from the fucking
From
start
the beginning, he nails
was
it, yeah.
Ron,
For
Yeah.
sure.
and that's exactly when I read that book. I was like, oh, how'd they find Ron?
They found him.
He's got a great arc through the 7 books or 8 movies. He starts really low. He's the youngest of 7 kids,
yeah,
and gets all the hand
not the youngest.
Well,
Second,
one-
he's,
yeah,
the, he's
The youngest
Ginny
boy.
matters more than he does.
Ginny.
So
Did you see that meme of like that moment when Buckbeak dies? And Hermione hugs him, and it was like your friend who's always getting in the way of you and your girl, and then Harry like hugs from the back.
Yeah.
It's like, get out! This isn't your moment, man.
I know. I that was my thought watching it yesterday.
Yeah.
They're
was
wheeling
like,
it
get
hell
out of
hard.
here, dude.
Yeah,
Dude,
right?
like fuck off.
Just let them have it.
Turn
Just
the
it's
other
fine.
way.
Favorite side character?
Favorite side character, Hagrid, 100%. He's
so
just so
great.
sweet. Or tied with Lupin, because I thought Lupin was just what a vulnerable character. Especially what we find out at the end about his,
On the
his
mic.
situation. Sorry, I don't talk close to enough.
I'm teaching you.
My favorite part with Hagrid is when he's telling them that Buckbeak is getting sentenced to death, and
When
he's like
skipping
rocks.
Oh,
And then
I
he
love
finally
that.
just
He's in the
chucks
suit?
one.
Oh,
He's in the suit. He's
yeah.
got his pants pulled up, and he just chucks it right down, and like
Yeah, after he
you
like
can
has
just
to-
feel
plunk.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The big plunk, like your heart just drops.
like his heart sinks like the stone.
Wow. Yeah, like the Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Death.
Mm. So yeah, Hagrid forever. He's always my favorite. He just
Aw.
Hagrid's
he's
great.
so sweet, and
Fantastic.
he's
actor.
just a real
His relationship with Hermione is special.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they've both kind of been through the same thing where people
Mhm.
hate them just for who they are.
Yeah.
In a sense.
His
That's
whole his the way he treated like her about the whole mudboat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everything.
What is the
Well,
line? Don't you think on it?
Don't
One-
you think
I
on it?
like how in
Oh,
this
many
film when Malfoy calls her mudblood, it just doesn't phase her because she knows that
Yeah.
words don't have that power.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because of Hagrid.
Caitlin.
Favorite main.
Favorite main is Hermione in this one. Because she's just like, I got stuff to do. I'm getting it done.
I got a pink
Malfoy,
hoodie.
You just want a
Malfoy,
time
I'm done
turner.
with you. I do very badly, very badly. But I love how like her hair's like up and like messy. She's wearing the sweatshirts all the time. 'Cause she's like, look, I looked all cute and wore the school uniform before, but we don't got time for that. I know I got a time turner. I don't got time for that.
That was more of a universal thing, not just her.
I'm aware, but you know, she's very prim and proper, and none of that happened in this one. And I feel like that's just
She becomes a nasty woman.
not nasty. She's just busy.
I'm
She's-
saying that
In a-
facetiously.
yeah.
she's busy in the cool way, and she's like she's got her shit handled, and
Does she?
like yeah,
Yeah.
she does.
I just asked. Does she?
She does.
Well,
And
now
that
she has a
like
time turner.
that Dumbledore comes in and is like time, time, and she's like yeah.
He's like 3 turns. By the way. And then Harry's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
is
like
he
I love
talking
that she takes
3
like
turns. Watch her do it.
doesn't even take like a moment to tell Harry what's going on. She's just like, come on.
Versus the most powerful wizard of all fucking time. Give me that fucking thing. I'll do it myself. I'll do 2 turns. You know, he's like, you gonna let kids do this again?
He can't be a part of it.
He cannot.
Yeah, you can.
No,
he can't.
He cannot. So that's my main, and then my side is Sirius Black.
Side bay.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
Just because like the determination he has to kill Peter Pettigrew.
He's the
And-
reason he's been in. His best friends are dead, and he's been
Well,
in jail for 12 years.
It's
Yeah.
the reason why, I mean, he kind of, this is a weird question because I'm kind of forgetting. What made Sirius break out? It was like him finding out that Peter was alive.
Yeah, he saw a picture of him in the newspaper. And
Yeah, because with
in a
Ron
newspaper
at
clipping.
Egypt.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so to me,
He saw
Sirius
him and
was
was
willing
like,
to be in Azkaban because he knew he had like killed Peter Pettigrew and was fine with that. But then the fact that he was alive, he's like, I have to break out.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And that's to me.
A gangster ass move.
I
But
know.
you know what else was a how you say a gangster ass move? He was not he wasn't affected by the dementors so bad because he could turn into a dog.
Yeah.
And he did that every day because they only recognize humans.
What kind of
Um,
move was that?
He's an
Animagus.
animagus.
Oh,
gangster.
He's like, bitch, I'm Azka back.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
Yeah, actually, can you
Ask
talk
him,
on that for
wham!
just a second about the animagus and what the difference between animagus and a werewolf, but also
Yeah.
registered, non-registered?
So they cover it a little bit
How about
in
the
the
dreamers?
movie, but it's a big part in the book. That there's you have to register to be an animagus. You learn it, you register it to the so everyone knows.
It's like the hero registration act.
Yeah,
Mm.
and the difference between an animagus and a werewolf or a shapeshifter like Tonks.
Yeah.
She's a shapeshifter. No, she's a
Shapeshifter.
shapeshifter, but
She
there's
can
a
change
different
into
name. There's a
anything.
name for it. I
Yeah.
just forget.
Yeah.
She can do it voluntarily,
Yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like an animagus.
But Lupin cannot.
Lupin changes into a werewolf
Lupin's a werewolf,
because
yeah.
he was bit by how Stella got her grayback, Fenrir Greyback, when he was a kid. So his whole life he changed into a werewolf, which is why Mooney or
what
Padfoot,
they call
Prongs,
him.
and Wormtail got to be, or they learned it, so he wouldn't have to go through it
Which
by
was their
himself.
animagus nicknames.
Yeah, that was their nickname. So they all picked in. They chose
Picted.
Tonks is a metamorphosis.
Metamorph guy. Yeah.
Hmm.
So they would do that so he wouldn't have to do it alone. And werewolves, they could communicate with him still and like kind of keep him
Oh.
company when he was transforming in the Shrieking Shack.
Yeah.
So it was like I thought it was like a nice testament of friendship that they like. It's that you don't learn it overnight. Like it took them years to learn how to
And
do it.
Lupin is the reason that they Dumbledore planted the Whomping
Mhm.
Willow.
So yeah,
So he would have somewhere to hide.
Yeah, they
Oh.
built the he had the secret passageway. They put the Whomping Willow on top of it to deter anyone to go near it.
Right.
And you tickle the little root and it freezes. Go in, Tom.
Same with me.
Hi, Tom. And then and then they could go through the passageway to the Shrieking Shack, which, and we all pointed it out, the lore of the Shrieking Shack was because of Lupin changing. The screams and things they heard from it
Oh.
was just him.
Him
Because it was so painful.
changing
But,
every month.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
so
and
they-
that moment of Sirius telling Lupin, "Your home is here,"
Mhm.
and this
In
is
his
you.
chest,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
Your home is here. It's not what you are.
Mhm.
Underneath, but what you do that
pretty-
defines you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
My favorite character is Lupin.
We're all shocked.
Yeah, no, he's.
Was
I think
that
I
your
said
side
it.
fan
That's
or
your
is that-
side.
No, that's my favorite
Oh.
character. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit about
Okay.
Harry, Ron, or
Yeah.
Hermione in this movie
Wow.
at all.
Rude.
Thank you. All what does Rod Kimball say? Corey, can we remind everyone?
What does Rod Kimball say?
All great men wear mustaches.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
No, like that's the truth. Like
Must
I
be nice.
give or take
Must
whoever
be nice.
give or take whoever. For me, this story is about Lupin and Sirius. Like that to me, I think Harry, Hermione, and Ron are a great roundabout way of explaining it. But to me, they're in the way. So
Wow.
for me, it's
Wow, okay.
it's Lupin all day. I just think
Corey turned into Tom, just want to punch
I
kids.
may have said this in my past episodes, but like he's my favorite character in the entire franchise.
Wow.
yeah.
So it's probably a big reason why this is my favorite book, favorite movie.
Go
as
eat
well.
a dick, Newt Scamander.
Seriously.
Goodness.
I mean, I always have a
Shout out
soft
to
spot
Newt.
for Dumbledore, but I had a soft spot for Richard Harris's Dumbledore. We'll get into
I
Gambon's in another.
Mhm.
My maybe issues and good parts about Gambon's
You
Dumbledore.
don't like Gambon? Prisoner of Azkaban?
Oh yes,
I got one.
that's where it
Proud of
ends.
you.
Thank you.
But for me,
Um,
it's Lupin all day.
We'll talk more
David
about him
Thewlis.
during Goblet of Fire. I
Yeah,
think.
like
Yes.
yeah, and I mean, Sirius and Hagrid are close seconds
Sirius
in
is
that.
so good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Another one I have a soft spot for and a hot spot for is Hagrid. He's
yeah.
just like
Hot tomato.
I think
Like a Harry
little tickle,
man.
tickle.
Mm.
well, I think shout out to Robbie Coltrane. Robbie Coltrane?
Robbie.
Robbie,
yeah.
yeah. Roberto.
For bringing like the bittersweetness of Hagrid to life in such a wonderful way. Like the way you read him in the book, he's a very sympathetic character, and I think he just like at a fundamental level understood what made Hagrid special, and
Yeah.
he just exemplified that. And I think
Before then, I just thought him getting killed by a helicopter in Goldeneye.
consistently he's just like every time he's on the screen, you just like I don't care who else is here. Like this is who I'm paying attention to.
Yeah.
Is Hagrid.
Definitely
He
still
melts
the
a little
same.
bit. He's
So
sweet.
it's Lupin first as my main character, and Hagrid is my side character.
Qualms.
Quimquams.
Hermione's hair. That's a
What?
serious one throughout the franchise for the movies.
Oh, that it's not the poof ball anymore.
It's not frizzy anymore because they wanted to make sure she looked pretty, and
Yeah.
it bothers me.
yeah.
But
Uh,
it worked.
You can't
a
sell
vanity
posters.
Ba-dum-bum.
Meh.
True, but like it's yeah, I don't know. That's one for me. Like it's from here on out for the third movie,
a
especially
wardrobe
on.
choice.
Mhm.
It really like it was such a big part of the character.
Mhm.
And then making her beautiful is kind of like it goes back on the whole point of her character arc of like
Right.
it's not what you look like, but what you do that defines you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, she's made fun of for being quote unquote the ugly nerdy girl, but she's really beautiful throughout it all. So, it's I probably will reference it in other episodes, but for pretty much every other movie after this, that's a big qualm of mine.
fair.
For me, like as a kid, I'll say like I hated the fact that they weren't wearing robes anymore. Hated
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I hated
love
that
that.
too. I hated
And
it.
as
Not a fan.
But as an adult, like I really understood why. I really get it now.
Because it tells you a little bit about who they are. And,
Yeah, well, it's also kind of like it's kind of that's the point where it's like we're taking away certain things about them to show that they've changed.
yeah.
And then it's not just like cloaks and robes all the time, and it's
Mhm.
just like
No
they
school
go-
uniforms.
Like you're going off campus, you're doing these things where it's like
Yeah.
they're growing, they're more people, they're not just children. This isn't just like this is not a kids movie anymore. It's becoming the adult genre now. So
Yeah.
it's like we're being a little bit more realistic, seeing them how they are in realistic clothes. I'm just like, oh shit, okay, that Nike hoodie, I see you, baby.
Wow.
So like, yeah, that was like still always like aesthetically, it always like irks me, but like I get it so well that I'm like, I understand and it makes sense, but I still don't like it. It doesn't please my eyeballs
Yeah.
to not see the cloaks.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
anyone else? Kwame?
Oh, I got one more.
a
But
couple.
let's
Oh, I
go
got one.
around.
I had.
Go.
Go ahead.
Kaylin?
The
Caitlin.
boggart scene, I loved it so much, but there was part of me that was like, these kids are facing their absolute worst fear
Yes, Caitlin.
and can think of the antithesis of it within about 5 to 10 seconds.
Yes, Caitlin.
Yeah. Do you know what your boggart would be?
I don't.
A clown.
You don't?
No, I don't actually. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah. I think the only reason it didn't bother me, because I was thinking the same thing, is that first of all, they're in a safe space. So they know the teacher's right there. They know
That's
it's not
true.
actually what it is. They know it's a boggart. Like if you turned a corner and just saw a fucking dementor,
Mhm.
you'd be like, oh shit.
Well-
but knowing it's or like you saw a
Knowing
giant
it's gonna,
spider,
like-
you'd be like, oh shit. But knowing it's a boggart and knowing your assignment is to do whatever it takes to
Think
make
of
it
the
laugh.
opposite
And
of
knowing
it.
Lupin's right there to step in
That's
if you
true.
need. I
Okay,
think it
okay.
takes the weight off of
Also,
that. Like,
I say with this too, like we're supposed to be, audience surrogate through Harry's eyes. He has all the problems with the boggart.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the thing where it's like that. If you do use that lens of like a dementor is supposed to be this manifestation of depression, and Harry can't seem to get past it, even when it's supposed to be like a faux pas. Like, how are all the other kids doing it and I can't? What's wrong with me?
Uh-huh.
Everyone's going to Hogsmeade, but not me. Everyone could do this boggart thing, but not me. So like, there's a
Mm.
lot of this outsider feeling, so that you should feel the same way Harry does.
Mhm.
And it's
Okay.
like,
Like, how are
why
people
am
doing
I
this?
like, why am I so different? What's wrong with me?
Right.
And it's like, I don't have parents, da 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 da, all these.
which is
things.
where the Lupin talk comes in, where it's
Yeah.
like they don't have the trauma you
Yeah.
have.
Which
Yeah.
is kind
They
of what
couldn't-
you're
no, but
supposed to
they-
feel as a teen.
Trauma that they couldn't even
But
comprehend, I think
it-
is the word he says.
Yeah,
Which I'm
and-
like, damn.
And even in that,
Yeah.
even in Corey's like, arguments, like this is supposed to be a safe space, Harry still can't do it.
Yeah.
And like and I really like that where he fails so many times. And
Well,
I'm
he,
like,
he
fuck
barely
yeah,
even
dude.
gets a chance. Like, I think Lupin
The
jumps
first
in.
time, yeah. He shuts it down
Yeah.
because he thinks it's
Well,
going to be Voldemort.
even when he does his secret training, he
Yeah.
like fails like
He
Oh, yeah.
passes
times.
out.
And I'm like,
Mhm.
fuck yeah, baby. Like that's so boring when it's like, I'm the chosen one, bam! And then it's like, oh, who gives a shit? Like, and that's why you don't give a shit about these kids who it's like, I conquer my fear so easily. It's like, no, this is supposed to be tough. This is
It's
a harrowing
hard.
journey. And it's like Hermione's just like, time? I did it already.
Yeah. fair.
I can
Do it.
give one.
You didn't kickstart it, but go ahead.
I know. I was about to say Kickstarter for some reason.
I don't know.
I think the movie didn't have.
The mansion.
I wanted more stakes at hand for this movie.
Medium rare.
I knew it was
Yeah.
coming.
Rare, Pittsburgh rare. Yeah, exactly. That was really it, and I think it's compounded by the time travel aspect of it. And I don't think I like that.
Did you feel like so compared to the first two films, right?
Right.
So the stakes at the first one is that Voldemort may return with this Philosopher's Stone.
Right. Yeah.
Second
at
one
any
is
moment he could be back.
That the basilisk is killing things, and then the son of Slytherin, where the fuck Slytherin thing will return.
right, but
and this one
it's
here, it's
also more
like-
direct Voldemort, more stuff.
And this one here is kind of like what's happening.
Azkaban,
Right.
or Sirius is coming to kill Harry.
There's
There's
not-
no like reprisal of Voldemort.
well, there's
or,
no like we're encroaching.
There's
upon
no
where
Voldemort at all.
right at all.
We're not encroaching upon where is Sirius, and we're getting
Correct.
close to him, but
Yeah.
also like Sirius is getting close to us. It kind of just happens.
Right.
I see what you mean.
So it was more kind of like, and even towards the end with the time turner stuff, it was just cool. Instead of it being like a quote unquote climactic battle or whatever. Not that I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but it's you going through time with Hermione. So it's like, well, I've seen all these things happen, but now I'm kind of getting the answer that I already kind of knew from it, not because I'd seen it before, but
But
being
they-
like,
they
well,
laid-
I was
with
gonna
that,
say,
Yeah, they laid out
There's
a
a-
proper mystery of like they let all these
Yeah.
loose ends open. You're like, well, once they add this thing, it's like obviously they're gonna fill in the cracks.
right. So like now it all kind of pieces together, and I get that, but it wasn't like I didn't feel like Harry was in trouble really at any point necessarily, like except for that confrontation with Sirius, but that's earlier. It's far earlier in the movie, so it doesn't feel like a ending kind of thing.
I would say the one point that I was getting a little worried after the time turner stuff was running away from Lupin.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
want it
yeah.
to
I
be
love
like
that werewolf design, by the way.
yeah, like
I'm
I don't
not a
need it
fan.
to be like the
Love it.
battle at the end of like Deathly Hollows or anything like that, but like I would have loved a little bit more kind of like, oh shit, is some shit's about to happen in this one? No, okay.
I guess that would be one of qualms. I guess it's a stupid one.
It's a stupid one. It's
Well,
low.
no.
No,
For
he's saying
my-
the werewolf
oh,
design.
No, you're fine, Ollie. I get you. 100. Mine's saying is like I'm not a really big fan of the werewolf design. My favorite
Oh, the
werewolf
design.
design of all time is probably from Underworld.
Vin Diesel
Or
Vin
no,
Diesel.
Van Helsing. Yeah, it's probably like one of those like it's more broody
Yeah.
and muscular. Like this one, I was like, God, someone feed him. Like it's so
Give this
scrawny.
werewolf a
love
sandwich.
I feel like if I just like flipped
Those
him, he'd
long
flip
arms
over.
are so
I
scary.
would say this.
to me.
I loved the creepiness of it, where he had like multiple like
It's very gothic.
well, like
Mhm.
like also like he had like several parts to his leg where it's like he's bending around. I'm like, that's cool. It's creepy, but I was like, I feel like a gust of wind blows him over, and I was like, he's so scraggly.
His like
And
his
also he's like
spine
balding.
continuing that didn't have a tail but was like all the way. That
But
really
I feel
bothered
like
me.
actually, to be fair, this is a very common look for werewolves, and I've to that point, I've not really liked a lot of
to
werewolves.
this
how they-
day.
To this day, guys. Mikey, what's your qualms?
Qualms. No qualms. Do you have
First
any?
Things
qualm.
you don't like could have
Well,
improved upon.
There's just sequence of events. The
Firebolt.
firebolt comes in fucking way early in the book, but I'm trying not to compare the book, so I'll throw that one out. Firebolt.
I did. The hair thing is a book thing. So.
Yeah, so yeah, if we're gonna go on that, the firebolt was a big issue. It was Ron hated Hermione for hijacking that thing and then telling on them. It created more problems between them, and it was also like it added to this mystery of how did he get it? Is it serious? Is it hijinxed?
Or was it just jinxed?
Well,
Not hijinxed, right?
jinx. Sorry, my bad. I don't know. When in the book, it made it just seem like he could come from any which direction,
Yeah,
and
I
he
was very
could do
upset with that.
anything from outside the walls.
And to that point, the ending doesn't end with the normal like going back to the train.
It doesn't go back to the train.
It's just like, oh, what the fuck
We're gonna
is
fly
this?
off into the distance
I
on my
love
new
it.
broom.
I
Look at my
love
broom.
that the very, very end is literally just a blurry face of like blurry Harry's face.
Yeah.
Going,
Everywhere
Ah!
you look,
Um,
everywhere.
It's cool. It's cool. But I think the big qualm I had, like really big qualm, is that they didn't really talk about the Marauders map as much as they should have.
That's one of my qualms here. It
Yeah.
says,
Who
wish
ma-
they explored more of the Marauders and the Marauders map.
Well, if you remember in the book, Harry was obsessed with it. He
Yeah.
was like in love with the Marauders and wanted to know
I
who they
didn't get
were.
that from In Love. I got it more like it almost possessed him. Like
Then-
almost like the book possessing
Well, you've
Ginny.
never been in love, Tom. It's exactly what it is.
wow.
I would say-
Are you talking about in the book?
Ooh.
Or
in the book, I felt like it was like almost like a terrible
He-
thing
he
that he
was.
like
Oh.
was
He-
like
you're right.
always obsessing about it.
He was super possessed by it.
and I was
Zodiac.
like, Jesus. Well, I was like the Tom Riddle's Notebook.
Yeah.
with Ginny.
But the thing
like,
I,
"Ugh."
that I thought was really crucial and like a really beautiful story was what we were talking about earlier.
Russell
That
Crowe.
the Marauders map was made like by the four friends. They didn't really explain who made it.
The
They
original-
never said who made it in the movie.
the original
Yeah.
Hardy Boys.
Ever.
No.
And that's the biggest part to me.
Except for the Mooney. They don't explain that Mooney, Wormtail,
Well-
Padfoot, and Prongs is the
That-
four of them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Even-
or in any
And it was
movie,
the biggest reveal
It's
in
the,
the book.
biggest reveal that,
Well-
that, like the reason they had it was because they were four best friends who would do anything
They'd
for
do
each
anything
other.
for an adventure.
best friends.
Anything for an adventure.
Could
And
have.
so that line that Corey loves so much, I would do anything. I would die rather than
love.
betray my friends.
But I won't.
Because there's a fucking foundation. The foundation
Yeah.
of that friendship is we learned for years
You
how
would-
to turn
would-
into other animals so he wouldn't have to do it alone. I thought it was the most beautiful thing that they just never really talk about.
Would you
We
say
broke
it's-
the law.
would
so
you
that
say-
They
we
broke
wouldn't
the
have-
law.
Would you say it's a
Yeah.
friendation?
Yes.
A friendation?
Foundation.
It's a foundation.
Yes.
Foundation.
I like that. Yeah.
But no, actually,
That's
in,
the only part I didn't
in
really
the
like.
film,
That's fair.
they just as a like not plot hole, but it's like a logic gap. They don't even explain how Lupin
like really knows what that map is.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so implied that he
Yeah.
knows based
Yeah.
on acting that he never explicitly
And the
says
fact
like,
that he knows how to use it
Yeah.
immediately.
he's
He
like,
knows
oh,
how to
this is
use
a
it.
map from Zonks, obviously.
And
And
how could Sirius know how to use it? Well, it just
And so like to that
could
point,
have
it's kind of like
explained it better.
maybe this map is like
the only
snake-proof?
time you get that he knows what it is when he finally says mischief
It's never
managed.
wrong. Oh,
And
yeah.
then he gives it back to him.
yeah.
Does
The
he
other
also
then you're
yell
like,
out like?
What a second.
Does he yell out like it's never wrong at some point? I think, or no? Is that something?
Yeah, he says that. He says
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
never
It's never wrong.
No, he says it's impossible. He
Yeah.
goes, I
Yeah,
saw
that-
Peter Pettigrew
very
on there. Impossible.
Impossible. That map never lies.
And then he was like,
Yeah.
anyway, eat this, feel better.
The only qualm that I think, if I'm a Weasley brother, I'm totally gonna call out Ron for sleeping with a man named Peter Pettigrew for 12 years and never mentioning it.
Yeah.
It's the only other qualm.
Or
I
how
have.
about Percy? I'm head boy.
Oh, there's also the
I'm the one
Ron?
with the most head.
the nice little thing.
Where's your boyfriend, Ron? Is he gonna sleep with you tonight? I don't have a boyfriend. Leave me alone.
Who's Peter?
Who's Peter? I don't know.
Anyways, moving on. More qualms.
No, I don't have any more. I just wish I would love to, and this isn't a qualm against the movie at all. I would just love a
Lupin
like
movie.
a Marauders trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Directed by
Tom Petborsuth.
I would watch that.
Guillermo del Toro.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
There we go.
And they say, "Fuck you, Newt Scamander." I'm kidding. No, Newt Scamander is a
Newt
wonderful
There's an
Scamander is
character,
Easter egg
great.
where Newt is on the map, and
but he's like hella old.
well, before the new Fantastic Beasts came out, because there's no books on those. You find out that him and Dumbledore are friends, so now it's retconned that he was just there visiting Dumbledore. Because Newt Scamander you can see as one of the names on the map. But Harry's looking at it. Yeah,
Wow.
But yeah, for real.
That happened.
No. I like Newt Scamander as a character. He's actually, I think,
You don't Azkaban him?
I don't stand. I don't stand for him a lot.
I guess
but I think
Tom's
he's
not an
important.
Azka fan.
I think he's.
Oh, why didn't we say Azcamander?
Why didn't we?
Well, you
Azkaban.
did now.
No,
Mike,
you did.
you
No,
are
you
going to
did.
be Azkaban from the show.
Fair enough.
But no, I do like Newt Scamander as a character. I think he's important. But okay, so let's go to ratings then. So who goes first?
Wait, can I do some trivia real quick?
Mikey.
I wrote down a few things of trivia. I'd like
Now
to.
you can.
So besides the J.K.
So then
and
on
the two
to the
grandfathers,
ratings.
this is a fun fact. This is kind of widely known, but I thought it was interesting in case people didn't know this. Alfonso Curon
Curon.
asked the kids, the main kids, Emma, Daniel, and Rupert, to turn in a little paper on what their
book
characters
report.
are, essentially.
It's fun.
Nice.
Emma Watson turned in a 16-page essay,
Oh
course she did.
my god.
just like Hermione. Daniel Radcliffe turned in a 1-page summary of his character. And Rupert Grint didn't turn anything in.
Oh my God.
Which Alfonso said was exactly what he needed to understand the characters. David Thewlis accepted the role for Lupin on advice from an actor named Ian Hart, who we know played Quirrell.
That's
Because
Wow.
Ian told him, quote, "It's the best part in the book. You have to play it."
Wow.
And
I'll say this.
David took it and said working on a kid's movie was one of the best experiences he's ever had.
Wow.
I'll say this
Oh.
as well. David, before this film came out, I fucking like hated him as a human being
Really?
because
Why?
Oh,
because
of
of
Wonder Woman?
Dragonheart.
Oh.
Because he's the king,
fucking
yeah.
terrible human being
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that movie. And I was like, fuck this mother, David Quirk.
Meaning he did his job well.
Yeah, sounds like, sounds like you just did a great job.
Fuck him up. Yeah, have you guys watched that shit, man?
Yeah.
Fucking amazing
Yeah,
movie.
That's good.
I mean,
Sean Connery's a dragon. Anyways,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just the trivia. Obviously, IMDb has a ton, but that was my favorite couple.
That's great.
Love it.
So
and the JK wanting to meet him out of all the characters, Lupin.
He is. I mean, she has now.
Yeah.
She's
Corey,
met-
how do you
she's
feel
met
about
them.
Michael Gambon?
Anyways, moving on, Mikey.
We'll talk about it in the Goblet of Fire.
So rating, who is first?
Mikey.
Mikey's first. He has no guesses that this will
So
be the girl.
1 out of 5. Stay within 1 out of 5. You fuck.
Wow.
Hey, you know what?
I'm a nice person.
Also,
No, 0 out of
I'm
5.
so glad that you're happy to be. I'm so happy you're on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me again.
Scale, I must implore you. It is a 0 to 5.
0 to 5.
Yes.
Okay. I would say like I'm gonna all Tom's points. The first time I ever saw the movie, and Caitlin, I didn't like how dark it was. I like the magic. I like the red hallway or the orangey hallways. Now they're like gray and
But also,
Blue.
blue and
like
green.
going to Hogwarts during the like beautiful clear night,
Yeah.
and also like starting the like the movie it during the day, not during this ugly night scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I when I was 15 and saw it, I think I would have given it a 4. I'll give it like a 4.6 now. I really like how it was made. I guess because of my friends. You guys make me pay attention to like
We make you better.
film narrative and how it's shot and how the visuals. I don't like some of the things that were left out. There's
Film literacy.
film literacy.
What's
Okay.
left out?
Just
No.
there's
The word that he was
I
looking
know,
for.
I
Well, they
don't
couldn't.
Yeah.
They would if they added any more. They would have to ask a cram.
No.
I get. Oh well. Jeez.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Well,
So
So
you
4-6?
said-
ask a plan better. Um,
That's
I
the
would
man.
give
You
it a
guys need to shut
4-6,
up.
but I really, really love the movie more now than when I was a kid. Great movie. It's not my favorite one, but yeah, 4-6. I really enjoy
Okay.
it more now than I did. I watched it twice yesterday.
All right, who's next?
It's either you or me.
What you want to do, Corey?
I'll go
Up to you.
first.
Okay.
For me, I know it doesn't have Voldemort in it, and he's the
He's the Kevin Feige
he's
of
the hero
universe?
of the Harry Potter movies. I get it. No. But for me, like the things you said were lacking are the things I find more interesting about this film. Is
Mhm.
it's more of a
It's a Harry's
introspective film
Well, it's
than
more
a
Harry's movie. if anything.
right. It's an introspective film rather than a action adventure kind of thing.
Right, right.
So shut the fuck up
For
already.
me, this is actually a 5. I think this.
Oh, wow.
This is
Wow.
to me the most perfect film in the franchise out of all of them.
Interesting.
That's kabam.
So when I have the least amount of qualms
That's
with, and if the only thing I would change is Hermione's hair,
Yeah.
then I don't really have anything to correct about this film. I
Fair.
think
Mm,
Alfonso
that's good.
Curon
That's a
did
good
a
point.
fucking phenomenal job.
Oh, so I have to go next.
Tim Tim Tom.
Yeah, as a film, it's weird. Like I remember being a child and fucking really not liking this movie, and then as an adult being like, God damn, I can't deny, baby. Gangster movie. I would say it's a 4.8.
Wow.
4.8.
Wow.
So the Nerd on Nation was wrong.
Again,
Mhm.
so wrong.
No, so far I shouldn't be here.
Oh no.
I don't know. All he uses the 0 out of 5 scale instead of the 1 out of 5 scale.
All right,
Hey.
Caitlin.
Got to keep it open.
You're next.
I'm a 4.7.
You don't have to do that, Caitlin. Just say a number.
There we go.
Oh.
Mikey's like, oh no.
Dude, I stand by it. They left out my favorite part of the whole thing is that those guys created that map
That's fair.
and
That is-
and
that
it
is-
was intercepted and like eventually Harry got it. That's
Don't
a
worry,
crazy
Mikey.
part.
Always lower than you,
Mikey,
anyways.
You are safe and are not the grump because it's me at a
4.
brisk 4.5.
Oh,
Wow,
Thank
that's
you, Aubrey.
pretty good.
So that means me and Tom were right. Or
Mhm.
Tom and I.
Hey,
You're
people,
correct.
people, the Nerd on Nation. If you want to get like inside scoop of like like ratings and all that stuff, like hit me up. I'll spread me some money. I'll be like, okay.
No,
I-
no.
Wait,
I'm
do,
kind of like rigging
okay.
with the horse races. Like, okay, I know which one.
Do not let Tom be bribed. No, that's a
I
no
know
no.
who's gonna. You
Nope.
just see me like, hey, so well.
If Tom tries to convince you that your
Azkaban.
Patreon payments now go directly to him, don't believe him, please.
No,
I'm going
don't
to
do that.
Cabo, guys. Why? To take Instagram pictures.
Not quite.
So there you have it. Mikey was
Lee's the
almost
grump.
the grump, and,
Lee's
I
the
was the
grump.
grump.
and now Mikey will be Azkaban from the show.
Oh.
Just for the record, it probably is my least favorite of the entire franchise.
There you go.
Oh,
He's
wow.
close to the
Probably
grump.
is.
I think
Not
he's
because it's
That's
not
just where
I
we
didn't like
disagree.
it, but it wasn't my favorite growing up. If I watched them all
Yes.
in a row now, my opinion would probably change. But it was always the one that I would tune out the quickest and do my homework.
That's
Mhm.
fair.
I wouldn't be glued to the screen. I don't know why. I'm not sure why.
I love
Probably
that.
because it was dark, I guess.
To me, I think that's like the 5th one.
I love that when we go
Yeah.
over
Order of the
ratings and
Phoenix?
stuff,
Wow.
like that. You know that your
Half-
rating would
Half-Blood
change at a
Prince
different point in
is-
your life.
I wasn't
Yeah.
ready for the films to mature. I
Yeah.
wanted them to stay
Same.
Actually, you know
hard
what?
a
same.
home, like a
I
happy,
think-
safe place.
Yeah.
I think Chamber of Secrets is my least favorite.
Really?
It's kind of a
Wow.
lull for me too, as well.
I think
Mhm.
Chamber of Secrets is the one that I like.
That's fair.
If they were like, you have to skip one, I'd be like, freaking Chamber out.
It's
Wow.
just a young Voldemort. Who gives a shit?
Goblet of Fire was it for me actually.
Oh,
No.
Goblet of Fire was like one of my favorite books.
Team
Wow.
Edward.
I just didn't care. I was
That's
like,
good.
okay,
Damn.
Voldemort's coming back.
The
Woo.
gillyweed,
And then the
part.
water
Triwizard,
dragon.
the Triwizard
See,
tournament.
the gillyweed stuff is just like that. Imagining that texture made me hate that whole thing.
I imagined it
You
as
never had seaweed salad?
yeah. I was gonna
I
say seaweed
have.
salad.
So good.
but
I
not
love seaweed salad.
swallowing
I
a
had it last
giant
night.
ball of it.
You have salmon gel?
For me,
No, I forgot.
Oh, you fucked up.
the emotion.
know.
Well, we'll talk. No,
Ollie?
I'll talk about it.
That's another.
I was
That's
gonna
another
say
day.
I was about to describe a scene that I liked about it, but we'll save
We'll-
that
we'll
for that
save that.
episode.
All
yeah.
right. Well, everyone, thank you for listening, tuning in. Mikey, thank you for being on the show,
Yeah,
making
man.
time.
Thank you so much for having
Oh
me.
wait, I forgot to give a shout out to the people who did guess Ali.
Oh,
as-
yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you everyone for
as
hanging
the
out and
ground-
listening.
Who was
Hey,
it?
if you want to piss off our patrons, Tom, that is on you, Bubba.
So thank you for Corey for listening to.
But I will honor and thank each and every one of them for voting.
So the two people who voted for Ali, I believe, let's see here, are at the bottom here. We have Andy N. voted for Ali. You got it correct.
Andy,
Shout out
thank
Andy.
you.
And Jackie. Shout out to Jackie.
Shout out to
Congrats, y'all.
Jackie.
Way to go,
You
Jackie.
guys
Congrats.
can kill
Yeah.
it. Give yourself a gold star for
You
the day.
guys are the
You guys
the
know me.
Gromgasser.
I think we should start keeping
Ba-da-ba.
track of who gets it right a bunch.
Yeah.
And maybe if you guys get to like 10 or 15 guesses
Maybe something
right,
happens.
maybe something happens. So you know what? I'll keep track of start of the new year. Let's start the new year this way.
Maybe
Let's do
I
it.
make a little house visit.
New year, new
No.
games.
I'll go back
No.
and mark who was on
Tom.
the first couple weeks of January.
You
and
said
we'll
you were
Tom
gonna
will
go
stay
back in
home.
time.
yeah.
Maybe I show up in a box or in a cake or something.
So anyway, thanks guys for tuning in today. If you want to check out more stuff from us, you can go to nerdon.tv. You can find out all the stuff about Mandalorian or
The update.
or
Or the Caveless Crusaders.
Caveless Crusaders. There's all sorts of stuff if you go to nerdon.tv.
Mikey, thank you so much for being here,
Thank
man.
you. I
Yeah.
can't wait for 4. It is my favorite.
I know it
movie.
is.
Big time.
Good to know.
We will probably quarrel, or will we
Quarrel.
quarrel?
Anyways, thank you again for listening, and
I can't ask to stand you.
be sure to drop a rating, a comment, or whatever you guys do, whatever the platform you're listening to this on. And as always, nerd on!
Ending broadcast.